All right, so in class today we looked at how do you graph, or how do you get this negative b over 2a thing. Today we're going to look at just how to graph in general. Give you a couple more examples of it. So there's really three steps to graphing, and so what we're going to look at is our first equation here. This is an example, y equals negative x squared plus 6x plus 3. The first step, finding the axis of symmetry. So we talked about that today in class. It's like halfway between the roots, so it's kind of where this 2a thing comes from. And to find that axis of symmetry, we use the equation x equals negative b over 2a. Remember, we've got an a value, a b value, and a c value, and that's what we're using. So negative b over 2a, which this gives us negative 6 over, negative 6 over 2 times negative 1. So getting that, we get negative 6 over negative 2, which is 3. So we know that our axis of symmetry is at x equals 3. So it's this line going right there. We don't know where it is, if it's up, down, where that is. We're going to figure that out. So the next piece is finding your vertex. So we're going to take our axis of symmetry, our x value, and plug it in. So negative 3 squared plus 6 times 3 plus 3. All right. So one thing I want to make sure you notice is that this 3 and the negative are not together. So it isn't negative 3 times negative 3. It is 3 squared if it's negative. So that gives us 3 squared is 9. So we get negative 9 plus 18 plus 3. So negative 9 plus 18 gives us 9 plus 3 is 12. So that means that our axis of symmetry is at 3, 12. So that's going to be right there, roughly. So there's 11, there's 12. All right. So next thing is step 3 is finding the nearby points. We're going to make our x and y table. So x, y, and we're going to plug values in. So with 3 being our axis of symmetry, we're going to want to take points that are around that. It's going to pick points like 2 and 1, 4, and 5. I always like to pick 2 values above, 2 values below. So our y value here we already know is 12. We're going to figure out the other ones. So what I'd like you to do is pause the recording and go through and figure out what those other 2 are. And we'll get back and make sure you got those right ones. All right, so you should have gotten so for 3 we had 12. For 2, you should have gotten 11. Should have gotten 11, and then 8, and then again repeating down here we get 11 and 8. So looking at your graph, you should have had, on either side you should have had an 11. And then coming down here you'd have an 8 and an 8. So your graph should look something like that. All right, so again, step 1, negative b over 2a. Step 2, finding the vertex. Step 3 is finding those points that are nearby. All right, what I want you to do is this next one is go through the same thing. Looking at step 1, finding the vertex. So we'll go through that together. And we've got negative b. So now we're going to have a positive 9 all over 2 times 3. So 9 divided by 6 gives us 3 over 2, which is 1 and 1/2. So looking at plugging that value in, 1 and 1/2 squared, so 1.5 squared is 2.25, and then timesing that by 3, we should get 6.75. So we're looking for our vertex right now. 9 times 1.5 gives us 13.5, so it's minus 13.5 minus 2. So plugging that all in should give us negative 8.75. So we know that our axis of symmetry is at 1.5. It's going to be right along there. And negative 8.75 is going to be almost to 9. So there's our point. I'm going to put that in black so you can see it a little better. So there's our point right there. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and we'll get back together and go through it. All right, so looking at your table, you got your x and y table. We know we had 1.5. And then picking our values, we know we had negative 8.75 there, 0.75. The hard part is picking the values. So what I want to do is actually pick values that are right around that. So let's look at values that are close to that. So right above that is going to be 1, and I would pick 0 next. And then also picking 2, and then 3. So notice these ones are 0.5 away in either direction. So they aren't exactly 1 away, but they are 0.5 away. So for 1, should have gotten negative 8. And for 0, negative 2. For 2, should have gotten negative 8. And negative 2. All right. So this graph's going up. So right on the edge of these is going to be negative 8, negative 8. Then it skyrockets up here to negative 2 and negative 2 right there. So your graph's going to be pretty skinny there. All right, so there's your second graph. All right, so what I'll look at next is looking at how do these things change with this. So right now this graph has y equals x squared minus 4. So again, the negative 4 is your vertex down there at 0, negative 4. But we can look at how does this change. So right now we have a 1 value for our a. But if we add to this, so this b value is actually shifting it to the left and down to the right. So you kind of see how this changes in negative. And also do the same thing on the positive. So by changing a, it gets skinnier and skinnier, and that change has less of an effect on it. All right, so just kind of a quick little play here to show you what it looks like. And there we go. So you can make those, play with all those around. All right. So we'll see you tomorrow in class. Have a great day.